Welcome to the Consulting Leaders Podcast, where we talk about the business of consulting. Whether you're looking to grow your practice or learn from the stories of leaders in consulting, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Guillaume Jouvencel, ex-PwC and co-founder of GHA Marketing. Join me as I interview the best consultants in their niche. Let's get on with the show. Jake, welcome to Consulting Leaders. Happy to have you.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Let's jump straight into it. What got you into consulting, Jake?
Well, the first thing that happened for me was a career change. I originally showed up on Wall Street doing investment banking and lived through the financial crisis of 2008, where I got into merger integration work and realized how much was about people and leadership, how much of business outcomes. So when I career switched at that age, I went and got an MBA and then showed up into the work world saying, here I am, a leadership and people guy, whatever that means. And so I was trying to find the place of greatest impact in that space of leadership. I went into HR. I did my own management rotation program as a leader myself, and realized and had the opportunity to join Gallup and consult as a Gallup consultant, and realized the access I had as a consultant to leadership and the influence I could have, even though I wasn't front and center, the influence I could have on so many more people and organizations as a consultant. So it was the field and the impact, the maximum impact I could have in that field, that consulting lent me.
I love this. What problem do you solve now? What is it that you help people achieve?
I try to create rewarding work for people.
What does that mean?
I'm glad you asked. Rewarding means I'm winning. So financially, I'm doing well. I'm also winning emotionally, where work is a means of self-expression, where I'm achieving a purpose and meaning and fulfillment in where I spend most of my day. Gallup, one of the things that drew me to Gallup was the research they did on well-being. They found that your well-being at work had the greatest influence on the well-being everywhere else. Your health, your social, your financial. And I had empirically found that myself. That's what drew me to the space. So creating rewarding work means trying to create not only big pay, but also big fulfillment for people.
Who is it that you help? Who are those people? Like, do you have a specific industry, company size?
Life sciences has been where I spent most of my career. And probably within life sciences, the big pharma companies, the Roche, I spent a lot of time at Roche and Genentech, Eli Lilly, and some at GSK, J&J. So those bigger organizations that really do function as well as their leadership functions. And I play at the VP level, SVP level. A lot of consultants like to say, and you would think, even given where I'm coming from, I want the CEO influence. No, I want that VP, SVP, senior director, executive director, right in that sweet spot where strategy is translated into real world application. I don't need to be at the top. I need to be where the impact and the day-to-day difference is being made. And so that's where I spend most of my time.
Nothing with the investment banking world?
You would think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first switched to Gallup, I did Bank of America. BlackRock was a big client at the time. So I was in the financial services industry in the beginning, a little bit of private equity as well. That's always, of course, leadership is a big piece of private equity. But it was the purpose and values that I think naturally resonated within the life sciences industry and with who I am. There's a deep mission in the industry, and these are great people that truly genuinely want to make a difference. They believe in the value of the human being above all else. So these kinds of values resonated naturally, and I think it was not an intentional shift, and it wasn't a shift that on paper makes sense. It was very much a shift of, if you would, the heart.
That does make sense. I like the focus on the VP and SVP level. I think 90% of the consultants I interview on this show are like, yeah, senior leaders, executives, CEO, COO. And of course, those people also need consulting and coaching. I think being precise and narrow around who you help and knowing exactly what impact your work is going to have depending on who you talk to um, makes a lot of sense. So I like that for you, Jake.
Good.
How do you market? What has worked for you to get the attention of, which is still not nothing, like VP, SVP level people in J&J, GSK, Roche? Like, how do you get the attention of those people?
Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is when I said rewarding work, you would have the reaction that everyone else has, is like, well, what problem are you really solving? And it is as generalized as rewarding work. I mean, Gallup brings a lot of tools that I continue to bring in my entrepreneurial venture. But in the last few years, AI has been the topic of focus. And I've had different topics over time. So what I've tried to do is identify the biggest pain point that is most common among my clients. And so that's changed over time. Rewarding work has had different paths. The path today is AI, and specifically AI adoption. How do we get people through the fear, through the ambiguity, through the unknown, through the risks, and to the benefits of using AI in their day-to-day work? And so how do I get to the, we'll just say, director through to SVP in that band? It's through a very specific business problem of AI adoption. So marketing to them means making sure that my LinkedIn comments and posts are specific to that topic. Conferences, and typically if I do podcasts, I do have one of my own, but it's more like a recorded conversation that I have with people about their AI journey. And I just put it out there. The ultimate reality is they're so busy, they have so many resources and so many existing consultants to draw on, that to get there means I'm talking and working with those other consultants. So I do have different consultants that already have relationships that I'll tap into and say, are you doing anything with AI and leadership in AI currently for your clients? No. Can I complement something that you're doing and add that layer on? That's been one of the more successful ways of actually closing business. And the other is, I am a certified strengths coach, Clifton Strengths from Gallup. And so I can run strengths sessions and coaching debriefs for leaders. And that coaching door opens up the conversation, the relationship, to be able to say, okay, what problem can we actually go after together after having built this trust and understanding of who each other is based on Clifton Strengths? So all those different venues.
So I love this. How do you translate those into sales conversation? Like, you have the podcast, you talk about the AI journey of your guests together with them. And I think that's always good to create some content your ICPs can relate to. because that will, score points, showcase that you're not only an expert, but you're also exchanging and communicating with people like them. But how do you move from that to a conversation, a sales conversation, an SOW, a letter of engagement? What does that all look like for you, Jake?
Yeah. And there's no silver bullet. I mean, let me be clear. I was a partner at Gallup, so I had a good long career there. And I've been on my own now 3 years running. And so it doesn't matter whether I was at Gallup as an account lead, an SME, subject matter expert, or the strategic partner, or if I'm on my own without the overhead and more affordable with decades of experience, it is never, ever easy. And it's rarely the same. I genuinely do not have a formula. I have principles. And the principles are trusting the long game, but I try not to give anything away for free. Those are counterbalances. So I trust the long game. I'm willing to go with you for the long run, and I will. I'll have the half-hour conversation. How's it going? Here's some ideas, and random here and there. Or I'll do the recorded conversation or podcast and not have any ask or even CTA coming out of it. Nothing. However, if I do end up spending more than a call or two with you, and we do end up having, I'll charge you for the hour, the next hour. I'll charge you for the next day or whatever it happens to be. I'll charge you for the next service. And so most clients understand that. They understand what it means to be in business and that your time is what you're selling primarily. All those consultants are trying to get out of that time-bound sale. But for me, that's still my reality. And those, yeah, so those are the principles I run by, recognizing that everything I do is about trust, and everything I'm selling and even advising comes down to the same. So I have to live what I preach, and when I do, it's all the more effective.
Okay, we're going to double down on a few things here because I think that's super valuable for the audience. How do you build trust? The reason I'm asking this is I like the approach, and I think authority, trust building, being seen by the right people is going to be key, and authenticity is going to be key in 2026 and beyond for consultants and B2B coaches. It's interesting that as of the second, third call, you would start charging. That's not something a lot of people are able to do, nor they would know how to bring that up. So how do you build trust quickly enough that the maybe second, third conversation can already be paid work, although it's not the whole shebang yet, but it starts incrementally, like getting the lead now client to take some small step one by one to potentially end up working with you. How do you do that whilst building trust?
So, the trust is built, the trust formula is divided by self-interest. And so you do your best to take that denominator out. That's the paradox that I operate within, though, because when I ask for compensation, I'm introducing that denominator back into the trust equation. So I operate without self-interest, but there's a reality. And so it's the way I think that I contextualize the ask. It's, hey, you're an incredible leader. You've got incredible potential. I can see where we can go together. And I want to keep prioritizing you and keep making sure I can give you my very, very best. But I have to charge to be able to do that. And I'm not going to charge you a lot. We can stop anytime. You're never stuck. You're always free. You can just drop out anytime. But how much further do you want to go? What do you think? Another month? 5 hours? How do you want to do this? Otherwise, you're going to get a percentage of me and not get my very best work to make you who I think you can be as a leader.
It's it's so funny. I've interviewed Charles Green, so one of the author of the Trusted Advisor,
Okay.
6 months ago, I think. And now we're working with the lady who took over his company. Never talked about the trust equation, the trust formula ever on this podcast. Today, you're the second guest who mentions it, Jake.
No
So
kidding.
I
Same
don't
here.
know. I don't know what this is about, but yeah. So first of all, if you're listening to this and you haven't read The Trusted Advisor, it's a book from 2000 from David Maister, Charles Green, and Robert Galford. Finish the podcast first, and then go ahead and buy it. Really worthwhile. And yeah, I think you nailed it perfectly. At the end of the day, credibility, reliability, intimacy, all divided by self-orientation. The thing is that in this, and I believe in giving the knowledge away for free, selling the implementation. I also believe in giving away for free what's scalable. But when it comes to your time, we need to be very, very mindful of what we give for free versus like, my clients pay me $500, $1,000, $2,000 an hour for this work. So at some point, glad you like this. Let's take some steps.
Yeah.
Which also increases not only the value, but the perceived value in front of your prospect, now potentially clients.
Yeah. Can I interject real quick as you're thinking?
Please.
It also means that you have to trust yourself. So there are months where I don't have a massive pipeline. I may not have a lot of income coming, but in every interaction, I have to believe, to be able to have that conversation, I have to believe that I'm worth that value as well. And that what I'm saying is true. It's not just a gimmick. Oh, I want to give you my best self. What a great way to say it. It's not, I'm not trying to put lipstick on the pig, as they say, but I genuinely believe that I'm going to be in demand. It's happened in the past, so I expect it to be in the future. And there are circumstances, of course, where it is happening. And I'm genuinely like, look, I really want to give you my best. And I can't unless it makes sense financially. So let's go one way or the other. Some people don't like that. It's true. But I've spent too much time in the milking the consultant for all they're worth that it's just not just. And I don't want those relationships anyway. So I want to find out early.
Amen to that. You grow as a consultant when you're able to retain. So having that predictable pipeline of leads is obviously key. And I think you have the things in place to get that. Next step is when you sign a client, you're able to retain them and potentially transform one engagement into another and then into another and into another and another. How do you do that, Jake? How do you retain? How do you not keep on billing your clients? Well, in a way, that's the point, but keep on providing value, keep on helping them take the next step, solve the next problem, and so on, so that you can retain them as clients. How do you do that?
At the beginning of an engagement, part of the modus operandi is at least a monthly call where we're just talking about life, work, what's going on. It's not a project-based call. And that call is where I'm sourcing for other problems I can solve. So I don't think in terms of beginning and ends of projects, renewing projects or renewing new work. The line is constantly in the water looking for problems I can solve. So I may be solving for 3 problems at the same time. I may have 0 problems for a few months that I'm going after, but because they've been a client, they continue to have this monthly check-in with me. And I do my homework, and of course it's a creative process. It's kind of the value you bring. Like the most recent example, I was doing a culture study. What I focus on is I call it a strengths organization, but it has nothing to do with the tool. It's all about what's working. So I study what's working in an organization. It's the opposite of any other consultant you're going to get. What's working? And we're going to study that. We're going to understand where it comes from. We're going to understand how to replicate it. And that's step one. We're going to get as much of what's working in an organization as possible. And then, of course, there are the problems. That's step two. So I'm having this conversation with a head of HR talking about the culture works what I've done, but I had one of these just check-in conversations. What's going on? Oh my gosh, our chief information officer this, and we're having all these conflict and that, and no one's aligned to priorities, and no one's measuring to know if they're making progress. And for a Gallup guy, former banker, when I hear the word measurement, I'll dig in. So what do you mean not measuring? Oh, we don't even know the definition of success. And so all of a sudden, it's a very easy, well, look, give me 10, maybe 15 hours, and let me see what I can come up with for you. And that's the other thing too, is very often I'm not afraid to stop at a diagnostic and truly, truly stop. I really am okay doing a 10, 15 hour diagnostic, coming back and us both saying, there's nothing here for me. You could do this, or McKinsey can do that, or you need to hire Korn Ferry for this, but there's nothing here. I'm completely fine with that. And I think that helps keep business going, helps the trust continue to build. And if we pause for a little bit, we pause for a little bit, but I continually have that check-in where I can just be like, what's going on? And frankly, I do have a client I had for 7 years. And this last year, we had a couple of those check-ins, and it was kind of like, okay, yeah, I appreciate you. You appreciate me. We did awesome work. Doesn't mean we're done, but there really isn't anything here right now. And that's not the first time. I had another client. She was with me I started at Gallup 10. So 12 years. And same thing, we haven't really connected in the last 2 years. I don't expect to for a while, but I know based on what we built that if we were to call back, we'd be able to pick up where we left off. So it's not like I'm adamant about keeping that monthly. If people want to drop it, we drop it. But that's one of the tactics I use to be able to renew, keep business going. And the willingness not to keep business going, I think actually helps.
Building trust still even in the engagement. Oh my God, I fumbled on this one. Jake, I like your vibe. I like the way you do business. Let me throw a little bit of a curveball question at you.
I'm ready.
What's your number one challenge? What's the one nut that you're trying to crack that once you crack, you're gonna take the whole thing to the next level?
Yeah. So right now, my focus is the digital adoption accelerator that I run for life sciences. And it is 3 days on site in person, Moab, Utah, taking these leaders out of anything familiar. And it's people from all over the industry, but I keep it capped. I try to keep it at 12 or less, between 8 and 12 people. So it's not the greatest business model. What I'm trying to do is figure out how to turn it into a business model that still brings the value that it's brought. I built it to be the most valuable thing I could imagine for a VP in life sciences. That's what it is. I didn't build it to make money. I built it to be something extremely, extremely valuable, and just figured, okay, I'll find out how to monetize it in a real way. There is profitability on it, but it's not, you got to fill every seat individually each time. And so the opportunity is to create, we're trying to build a community around it. We're trying to build follow-on events that bring value, but to be able to get a pipeline that fills that accelerator with more that word of mouth, just there's that breakthrough that I haven't gotten yet on the accelerator that I'm going after.
Thanks a lot for sharing this. And you're probably seeing my question coming from miles away. How are you planning on solving this challenge? I'm asking because obviously that's a lot of consultants are trying to build a product that is either AI powered or even a digital twin of themselves, or a digital version of the product, or let's say a digital version of the solution that they are providing in person as a consultant, maybe to have like a downsell offer or something that is more scalable, multiple reasons to this. I think the philosophy that you have, in a sense of I want to build the best product possible, is absolutely the right one. Usually money comes after that. But how are you thinking of putting it into more hands? How are you thinking about making it even better? Like, how are you thinking about solving this challenge, Jake? I'm asking because some people will face the same challenge and will want to listen from their peers, how they think about it.
You have to remember also why I got into this space. It is very mission driven. So I'm not willing to compromise quality for scale, which can happen. I've done my budget. I know how much money I need to support my lifestyle. I'm not driven to always do more and to get it into more hands. I'm driven to go deeper and make it to more meaningful and more transformative. So with that said, I may not always have the best advice. I go for growth for people who just want to grow. I go to what I do best. And that comes back to the culture work that I do, the measurement, the business impact of culture, which I think few people really can do practically. But that culture, the business impact of culture, and then the opportunity to try and put that into what we call a mentoring package. So 12 months coming out of the accelerator, we have a mentoring package. Still demands my time. It's still an experience. It's not a digital twin. It's not an agent. Although I use agents to, and that's the other thing too, is I'm not afraid to put my expertise in the instructions and knowledge and create a gym and hand it off. I'm okay with that. And I have yet to see it take away from my business. I can't say I've seen it grow it either, but I do think it extends my impact beyond my time. So I know people are using my agent and associating me with it, but it's very specific to the problem they're solving. It's usually a culture, strengths, or a mindset agent that I build and hand off. So again, does everyone buy that mentoring package? No. Do I want more to do it? Absolutely. The ones that take it, is it a home run? No, but I do think it continues to deepen my impact, continues to make work more rewarding for them. And that's my satisfaction.
Jake Herway, ladies and gentlemen. Jake, if people want to find out more about you, see what you do, where should they go?
ValueAddGroup.com. That's the accelerator. And then there is a jakeherway.com for the measurement and strengths consulting, the strategic work that I do as well. But the AI and the AI accelerator, which is my focus right now, ValueAddGroup.com.
We'll put all the links in the description. For what I'm concerned, you've gained at least one new connection on LinkedIn out of this interview, Jake. Me. Thank you so much for coming on Consulting Leaders.
Thank you, Guillaume. Appreciate you.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Consulting Leaders podcast. We hope you learned valuable lessons on how to grow your practice and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time. How